Okay, so now we're going to see what is the market facts in that area, where our subject property is located, and we're going to find out after we do the research, but here is all given to you in this exercise, is that prices haven't been rising during the last year, and then the entire increase in the first 6 months period, the appreciation during the last 6 months period, it was no appreciation. So building cost for this type of property are $70 per square foot. So if we are doing a different comparison approach, this might be actually more valuable. In our case, I don't think it's that much essence rather than other one. Lots are sell for $900 per front foot. So that's important to highlight. The fireplace adds $2,000 to value, and single garage cost $12,000, double garage costs $22,000. However, each respectively adds $10,000 or $20,000. So you can see that sometimes when we do the renovations on the property, they don't actually pay off 100%, and you cannot utilize them and get the money back for those renovations that you do. But again, that's the part of the completely different discussion. So right now we're going to move to the selected best comparatives in the area. So technically we had picked 5 for you that you can actually look up. You have the guide. Your guide is provided to you, which will have, I'm just going to give you one hint. So you will be on page, you will be on page 17 under activity 7, direct comparison approach part 2. You're going to see the explanations, and this described all the comparatives, all 5 comparatives. So you have 5 minutes to read it, please. And then for this video, we're not going to pause 5 minutes. I'm just going to continue. So after 5 minutes passes, I'm going to have students tell me which comparatives are the ones that we should pick. And hopefully you come up with those 3. So first, third, and fifth comparatives should be ones we decided to choose to compare with the subject property in terms of determining what is the value of our subject property. So we have 20 minutes now to comparative 1, comparative 3, and comparative 5. We have 20 minutes for you to fill this up and enter all the information from all properties that you are given, calculate the adjustments, and come up with a price for each and every single one of them. What is important for me to highlight before you start doing this is that the adjustments are done taking in consideration what is the subject property in terms of comparing with the comparison. If I said that correctly, I don't know if I get it right. But anyway, when you have a subject property, and let's say comparable one does not have some features that the subject property has, or lacks of some features that subject property has, how we address that is very important. If you take in consideration the subject property, let's say we said that subject property does not have a fireplace. So when we have a property that has a fireplace, what are we up to doing at that point? We have to reduce the value of the comparison for the value of the fireplace. So we said earlier that the fireplace will add value of 2,000. So for the property that has fireplace and we don't have a fireplace on the subject property, we have to reduce it for $2,000. Okay, so makes sense. If your comparison is superior to the subject property, you have to reduce the value. if your subject property is superior to the comparison, then you have to add in a value in order to calculate the proper amount. So you have 20 minutes to finish that. So after 20 minutes, hopefully, we have our sales analysis filled up this way. Okay, so pretty much the sheet will show the subject property information, show the information of the comparables 1, 2, and 5, and then the adjustment that we have to make to each one. So as I said in the beginning, when you have a lot size, when you have a square foot, when you have garage, fireplace, those are things that might be different on these properties, okay? The other thing that we are looking at is what is the distance from the subject property. Very important is how far back that property was sold and what was the sale price of that property, which will help us determine which one is actually the closest to the subject property. So after we do all this adjustment, what would your guess be? What is the actual comparative property to the subject property? This one has total adjustment only 1,000. This one 36, this one 37,400. So if you're looking just by total adjustment, you would think this one is the closest in terms of value. But then if you are looking distance and the time when property was sold, then you will see that those two are actually the closest to the subject value, which then put this one into a third place. And then when you take in consideration those two, you see those two are just recently sold, pretty similar price, and then the comparison is actually adjustments are again very similar. This is back split, this is side split, which our subject property side split. So between those two, actually we will have to pick one that is the closest to our subject property, and I would say that the one that is comparative number 3 would be actually our pick. Okay, so when we decide and calculate that comparative number 3 is the one that it's for us to compare, then we're gonna actually calculate, depending on the amounts that we got, we will actually estimate the value of the property that is our subject property. Any questions? So if you have no questions, we're gonna say, just to wrap up the class, that adjustments are applied to comparable sales. When a comparable is superior, a $- adjusted is used. When a comparable is inferior, a $+ adjustment is used. Adjustments are based on a value and not on a cost. And value estimated based on adjusted sale price is actually the final adjustment price that we got. So we actually estimated that our property value is $354,000. So that would be actually how the direct comparison approach works. And as I said, the objective of doing this was to describe how adjustments are applied in a direct comparison approach. And this is actually the most important to understand how to come up to the price of the subject property, and the direct comparison approach is the one that is mostly and the most frequently used by the realtors when they are determining the actually estimating the value of the property. So if you have no more questions about this, I will wrap up the class, and I will thank you very much for your attention.